Oliver Slope coming to us live from Chicago, Blue Line Futures. How you doing, Oliver?
I'm doing well. It was a tough end to last week's trade, but it seems like we've got a little bit of a mixed bag to start a new month and a new quarter of trade, which is a little bit better than how we finished last week. But still, plenty of time left this week. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the volume thin out here after, the first couple of days as we head into the July 4th holiday. But all in all, I think traders are still kind of digesting last week's report and keeping a very close eye on the weather. Obviously, the corn market really took it on the chin to round out last week's trade, and we all kind of relearned what we already knew, is that the American farmer loves to plant corn, right?
Absolutely.
That's just a really tough hurdle to get over when you have a surprise like that on the acreage number. But looking at the fund positioning, I think it's really interesting. Friday's commitment, the traders report had them net short about 278,000 contracts. Keep in mind that just through June 25th. That doesn't really include the back half of last week's trade. I think if you add in the pressure that we saw in the back half of last week's trade, we're probably pretty darn close to a record net short position, if not overtaking that. So, there's a lot of bearish headlines out there, but a lot of that is known at this point with these reports behind us and with funds as short as they are. I wouldn't be surprised to see some intermittent short covering rallies provide some strength to the market.
Oliver, I like your ideas. When everyone's bearish, maybe we should go the other way. All right, you stay right there. That's Oliver Slope with Blue Line Futures. Market. We are in the 1st of July, and that money's swooshing around. What do you say, my friend?
Yeah, well, the cattle market, it looked like we were going to have a breakout midweek last week and just weren't able to get any follow-through. The seasonal strength has been a nice tailwind through June, but as we get into July, that starts to dwindle a little bit, and I think last week's price action is a little bit of a caution flag, especially for the feeder cattle market. I mean, with corn off as much as it was, you would have thought that would be enough to really get feeders trading back towards the top end of the range, if not breaking out above it, along with all the other bullish fundamental tailwinds. And the fact that we weren't able to do that is, again, a little sign for pause here in the near term. The outside markets, kind of choppy here to start the new month of trade. One thing that really caught my eye here to start the new month of trade is the bonds just getting whacked again. They got hit hard on Friday and again following through to the downside today, which means interest rates are rising. And if that starts to become more of a trend here through July, I wouldn't be surprised to see that put some pressure on the stock market and the indices, and potentially some of that money flow sloshing around like you had mentioned, put some pressure on the cattle complex.
Absolutely, Oliver. It's never been more expensive to produce a pound of beef, and we have to keep an eye. I'm old. I started in the corn room, and then I went over to the bond room. And so I've spent a lot of my time trading bonds. And we had that lost 15 years where interest rates didn't move. Not only didn't they move, they went up. They've stayed up for a while, and everyone's saying they're going to come down. Not so fast. You look at a corn board that's went down as hard as it did, and an interest rate that's 3 times higher than the producers used to paying. It's definitely putting pressure on the producer, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you had mentioned, a lot of people are expecting it to come down, but I've been hearing that all year. Interest rate cuts are around the corner, but they keep getting pushed back. So it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds, especially into an election season. So I guess I'll leave you with the wise words of buckle up and keep your hard hat on.
Oliver, I miss your pretty face. Maybe next time we'll see you here in person.